The Secrets of Technology is brought to you by the StarQuest Production Network and is made possible by our many generous patrons. If you'd like to support the podcast, please visit sqpn.com/give. Hi, I'm Dom Bettinelli, and you're listening to The Secrets of Technology, where we discuss the technology news that's important to you from a uniquely Catholic point of view. And joining me today on the panel are Victor Lambs. Hey, Victor.
Hi, Dom.
And Pat Scott. Hey, Pat.
Hello there.
So today, before we get started, I want to let you know about another show on the StarQuest Network you're sure to enjoy called The Secrets of Sacred Art. We just had someone on our Discord say that they just started listening to The Secrets of Sacred Art, and they are watching it because it's actually best experienced as the YouTube channel on our youtube.com/StarQuestMedia, because you can see the art they talk about. And this listener was saying that they would just love listening to or learning about all this art stuff that they never knew before. So check it out wherever you can find podcasts, at our YouTube channel or at sqpn.com/art. Okay, so before we get to today's main topic, I have some feedback I want to share with the rest of you that we got from some listeners. And our first bit of feedback comes from our Discord community at sqpn.com/Discord. And this comes from The Zinger, or as I say, The Zinger. The Zinger says, I'm a bit behind on my podcast right now. Just started listening to episode 257 on Tech for the Parish. I wanted to share that my parish has a men's group that is hybrid on Zoom, and what they do for engagement is use Zoom breakout rooms when it's time for discussion. The format is to watch a video as a large group and then discuss in small groups, so that works well for that group. It may not work for a smaller number of people, though. There's usually 5 on Zoom and 25 to 30 in the room. I'm also on a weekly all Zoom study of the upcoming Sunday readings. That works very well for Zoom. And I should add, what we were talking about in that episode was using Zoom, but to engage people who can't be physically present for various parish-related activities, and how difficult it is to incorporate both people who are in person and people who are online and participating, and what the best ways to do that. I like this idea of having if you have multiple people on Zoom, they're in their own breakout room during the breakout session. I like that idea.
That's a good idea. Yeah. I know my son, Steven, says that they use breakout rooms with Zoom for some of their online stuff, and it works out really well.
For his work? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that is, So Zoom's got a lot of features. They've added a whole bunch of features. They call themselves Zoom Workplace now because they've added, like everybody else, you've got to add calendars and task managers and all sorts of stuff. It's not just a video chatting thing anymore. Our next one comes from Tom, who contacted us via our contact form at sqpn.com. He said, I was very disappointed by the Is Your Driving discussion in the June 20th Secrets of Technology podcast episode. That was the one where we were talking about is our insurance companies monitoring your driving using various apps. And he says the whole principle behind insurance is shared risk. Insure a group of people and average their costs across the whole group in order to share the risk. To me, this seems more Catholic, and it just makes more sense. In this way, no one person or family suffers unduly, especially when the accident isn't their fault. Some people will benefit at the expense of others, but isn't that what the morning vineyard workers said about the late afternoon workers? I'm certainly not comparing the insurance companies to God, but I feel the people's attitudes are the same. I would rather see everyone in large groups keeping the per user cost down. I believe this would benefit the most people. So I think what happened was our objection is that these insurance companies were using less than transparent means to gather information about individual drivers' driving habits, including information that the problem wasn't shared risk. I don't think anyone on the panel is against the concept of insurance companies using shared risk and basing the relative risk of the individual driver on various metrics. Because I agreed it would be great to have and it came up in the discussion. It would be great for my insurance rates to be based on my personal ability to drive, not on all 50-plus-year-old married men in the Boston area who drive a certain kind of car, because those guys are all terrible drivers. I'm a much better driver than them. The problem I think we were saying we had was A, the lack of transparency that they were doing this in the first place, and B, the inability for the individual to know and see what was being said about them and to ensure that the information was accurate. That's really the problem. So it's not, I agree, we should have shared risk, but it's not so much that it was that, it's that, the lack of transparency, the lack of accountability involved in the specifics we were talking about, the way they do it now. So,
right.
Yeah. So, I mean, if I'll give you guys a chance to comment, even though you weren't on that episode, but if you had anything you wanted to add to that.
Well, my dad would always say, only drive as fast as you can afford. And
wise.
Yeah. And I think that applies to these insurance things too. So if they are monitoring people's driving, I mean, if you are a fast and more reckless driver, you need to mitigate your risk of, damaging your car or someone else's or causing bodily injury by buying more insurance to mitigate that risk. And if that's your habit, plan accordingly.
Right.
Well, and I was wondering, is there any, and I haven't been involved in doing this with my insurance company, is there any feedback that they give the individual drivers to say, by the way, you seem to have a heavier foot or anything like that, that there's no feedback that comes back to the person to help them improve their driving habits?
No, that's right.
That would be really nice.
And they were gathering the data, like using third-party apps like Gas Buddy and other apps that aren't the insurance company. It's like there are some insurance companies that they'll give you a discount if you install a tattletale device in your car. This isn't that. They were surreptitiously getting the data about your driving habits. And there was one fellow who was suspicious that his information, Toyota was selling his information. He requested it and got a spreadsheet that showed his exact locations of where he had been, all of his driving on a spreadsheet, including how fast he was going and how long it took him. Like, there was some very detailed information about his movements. That's a civil liberties nightmare right there. That's a privacy nightmare. And as he was saying, like, the speeding and all that sort of stuff, well, what if, someone is a speed demon, but they just drive in bumper to bumper traffic all the time. So it makes them look like a better driver. It doesn't do what they're hoping to accomplish, but with it. So it's problematic in many different ways.
The context isn't there. Yeah.
Yeah. We get into a lot more detail in that episode. So if folks want to go back and listen to that one.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was going. We do have more feedback, but I'm going to save that for next time. And because we love your feedback, we've been getting some great feedback. But I want to dive into today's topic, which is very timely for me. Today we're talking about weather apps and weather technology, mostly the apps that we have, whether it's on our phones or iPad or tablets. I always say iPad as a generic, but phones, tablets, computers, that sort of thing. And I say it's timely because I'm under a thunderstorm watch, and you may hear some rumbles of thunder as we're recording. Hopefully, the power doesn't go out. That would be bad. But I'm watching it on my iPad. The weather radar. So keeping an eye out. But they often say that the one thing that sells phones is cameras. Everyone uses it's a misnomer to call it a phone. It's really a camera with a phone function. But I think a close runner up is weather. Everybody uses the weather apps on their phones. My teenage son, when he was preteen, we gave him a phone without phone service, and he wanted that so he could look at the weather app. He loved looking at the weather app. He was obsessive about it, and almost. So and it's important to have a good weather app. When I was a kid, when we were all kids, when we were all younger, we get the weather once a day at 6 o'clock, 6:15 from the local news station, or 5:15, whenever your local news was on, and that was pretty much your weather. But now We want and expect our weather up to the minute, accurate. When's we want to know it's going to start raining in 5 minutes, which is kind of crazy, that sort of thing. So
we want micro weather.
Yes, exactly. That's kind of what how you describe it. So I thought we could talk a little bit about the weather apps that we've tried and use and like, and maybe ones that we've tried and didn't continue to use for whatever reason, and to get some of that feedback. I'll open it to you guys first. I've got my opinions about the stuff that I use, but I'll let you guys go first. Victor, what is it that you like and use for weather apps in general, phone or otherwise?
Yeah, I mean, as I get older, there's so little that surprises me these days that sometimes I like being surprised by the weather. So I don't use weather apps as much as I do to get that kind of minute by minute micro weather. I find that somehow a routine got set up on our Amazon voice assistant, and at like 6:30 every evening, it'll say what the next day's weather is going to be. Or we'll ask, like, what's the current temperature? How hot is it going to get today? Will it rain today? So, I ask once or twice a day, and it's not super accurate, the service, but it gives me a kind of general feel for what's going on. If I do want, the Amazon voice assistant kind of fills that gap, and it's something the kids like to do too. If they're wondering how hot it's going to get today, or what's the temperature going to be at 3 p.m., they can ask and get those sorts of questions. In fact, our 11-year-old got so interested in weather that we got him a Ratty brand wireless weather station with the anemometer and the rainfall meter and stuff, and it's all wireless back to its base station, which you can then connect to Wi-Fi and sync up with their app and stuff if you want. And so that's he really likes that because it predicts rainfall and stuff on barometric pressure and temperature and dew point and stuff. So he's fascinated with that. There are two main weather apps that I do use on my Android phone. And the first is Weather Underground. And it's just because I've been using it probably for, 15 or 20 years at this point. And whenever it says it's going to expire, I think it was $1.99 a year for a while. And I would just renew for like 5 years at $1.99 and then in 5 years, like renew. And it's good. I mean, it's pretty, the interface is a little clunky. There's a lot of information in it. But then there was another one for Android that it's actually like very elite. It's called Weather Timeline, and you can't find it in the Google Android Play Store anymore. It doesn't. They had to take it down because the developer was paying too much in like API calls for the weather service. Eventually, the app was bought by MyRadar, but they still have it delisted. So if you look on any of the Android sites where you can find APKs, you can find Weather Timeline and install it. And what I really love about it is it has a very configurable minimalist interface. And it does do that kind of minute by minute, here's the precipitation, here's when it starts, here's the intensity graphs. It seems to be pretty accurate. And I just really like the interface on that and the widgets that you can put on your phone. But again, it's not widely available. You have to kind of install it from a third party, app store or one of those APK sites that they have. But it's I like it. But like I said, I don't check the weather as much as I used to. Sometimes a little mystery in life is a good thing.
How about you, Pat? What do you use for weather apps?
Typically, I don't check it more than maybe twice a day, and unless I know there's a storm coming or some event coming. But the default is Apple Weather because it's right there on my phone and easy to get to. Mm-hmm. And I had forgotten that Google Weather, there's not an app for it, but whenever you go to Google, it shows you Google Weather. So I hadn't realized there wasn't a specific app for it, at least on iOS. But it looks like it's the same information whether you go to Google on the Google News on the web or whether you go to Google, the search app So, but I have tried carrot weather a couple of times, and it's cute. I just never think of it, and it doesn't seem to be something that I'm especially fond of. It's just it's there. I did get Weather Underground and Weather Channel again because I was doing some looking for reviews, and they still keep getting really high reviews for Weather Underground and Weather Channel, even though they say that the interface hasn't been updated. It's really accurate compared to some of the other ones out there.
Right.
And of course, there's a lot of controversy about who's got the most accuracy. So I think that's kind of a 3 or 4 people or 3 or 4 up in the air type thing. But that's really what I do is I just try to look and see what the day ahead is going to be. And then maybe that night, just look to see the next day. But unless there's a storm coming or unless I'm worried about hail, I just don't think about the weather.
So Weather Underground was bought by the Weather Channel, weather.com,
right? That's why
a number of years ago.
I grouped them together.
Yeah. So if folks want to know, and Weather Underground, I understand, uses a sensor network to supplement the satellites and all that other data. If people can set up their own, like NetAtmo is a brand of home weather stations, and there are people who set those up, and schools especially have them, so you can get hyper local weather data from those that they aggregate into their system. So that's one of the reasons why they're often rated highly. So like you, I have the weather, the built-in Apple weather app, which has improved greatly over the past few years. Mostly, I think, when Apple bought the app Dark Sky and incorporated most of that into it. A lot of us are still salty about that Dark Sky acquisition.
I know. I miss Dark Sky a lot.
you get a lot of it in the app, especially in the radar view, that sort of stuff. But there's a lot in there now. When you open it up and you have your location, you get things like the daily averages, the UV index, you get gusts, pollen, air quality alerts, all kinds of stuff like that. So it's really it's full function. I mean, it's a lot in there, and it gives you hourly stuff. For me, I mean, I work from home, but I spend a lot of time with scouts, so we're outdoors a lot, and I grill a lot. And knowing whether it's going to be raining at between 4:30 and 6:30 or 7 o'clock is very important to me when I'm trying to grill. Like today, I didn't even know it was good. The thunderstorms were rolling in at 4:30. And so when we're making our weekly menu, we do that on Thursdays because we go food shopping on Friday morning. I want to know what the weather is at dinner time for the next week, so that I know, at least in the grilling weather, so I know whether we're going to be grilling that night or not. And I know that you can't guarantee anything, especially more than a couple of days out, but I like to get an idea for it. So the Apple Weather app is pretty good. Carrot Weather, I've had Carrot Weather for a long time, and Carrot Weather is very polarizing because one of the big deals about it is it has a personality. The developer has infused it with some whimsy, and it can be snarky. And there's a setting in the settings where you can have it be everything from I could look at the
vanilla.
From being very, very plain, just straight up weather to homicidal and foul mouthed and whatever. And you can also have it give you commentary from liberal to moderate to conservative politically. I've turned all that off. I mean, it was fun for a little while, but it got kind of annoying to have it snark at me every time I just wanted to see whether it was going to be raining in an hour, that sort of thing. So I eventually turned all that off. But there's so much to this. It's so customizable. You can really bend it to show whatever you want, and especially on the iPad with a nice big screen. I love, setting it up with just the information that is relevant to me, where I am here, UV index and all that sort of stuff. It's got that layout. It does have both paid and basic. So there's the free download, and then you can pay anywhere from $20 to $60 a year. I don't do the $60 a year, and the 60 includes a family plan, so your whole family can use it. But for the paid plans, you can get weather radar, specialized notifications. You can get really granular. I want lightning notifications, but not notifications about I don't know, hail or whatever. You can get granular in it. It also gives you widgets. So, on iOS, iPadOS, and Mac, you can now do widgets on the desktop. And so I have like one screen of my iPad that's got this giant weather widget that just is there all the time for me, sort of like a dashboard. I have it with a few other things on that, like a dashboard on my desk. So I really like to have that there. So it's like I said, it's got a lot of whimsy, a lot of customizability. One of the things you get with the paid option is you also get multiple possible sources for the weather forecast. There's, Forica, Apple Weather, AccuWeather, Tomorrow.io, XWeather, and Open Weather. And then there are regional. So if you're not in the U.S., you can get Environment Canada, Deutscher Wetterdienst. I don't know what that means. It's German. Meteo France, Met Norway, Japan Meteorological Agency, Willy Weather. Oh, those Australians with their whimsical names, Willy Weather. It's very cute.
Willy Weather the storm.
Willy or not? That was Scottish. That was really bad.
That was.
So, Carrot Weather is great. It may be a little overwhelming, but like I said, it's on iOS, iPadOS, and Mac. So in all those places. But I recently have started relying more on a different one called 1 Degree Outside. And this is not going to be an app for everyone. This would be an app if you're in one of the 5 New England states, Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island. This is a app and website set up by this couple, Matt and, what's her name? Noise. They are husband and wife meteorological couple. They were both meteorologists on local news channels in the Boston area for 20 years, I think they were. And they both, the story is they both got tired of getting up at 3:00 in the morning to, do the morning show and all this sort of stuff. They set up their own weather app and system, very personalized. They have multiple forecasts a day. They have a YouTube channel where they put this up for free. Their plan is, I guess, to make money off of advertising, but they also do paid specialized forecasting for businesses for whom weather is very important for them to plan their work, like say landscapers, I suppose, roofers, construction companies, that sort of thing. So anyway, but I've been finding their service to be really great. And if you have like a hyper local forecasting app like this, that's the ideal, because what you have is a professional human being with experience doing this. And like when there's a weather event, like a big line of thunderstorms coming through the area, they'll do a special live stream and, that sort of thing. So if you've got something like that, it's great. If you're in, the New England area, check it out. It's the number 1 degreeoutside.com. Of course, links to everything will be in the show notes.
Yeah, we have something like this in Michigan. Mm-hmm. It's actually a guy on Patreon, but it is that same sort of curated, not a meteorologist, but his predictions are very accurate. And his name is Snow Freaks. So just Snow Freaks on Patreon. Wow. And if you live in the Michigan area, he'll basically write posts anytime there's any sort of weather happening. Several times a day, he'll just write posts. And I think he's on Facebook as well now, too, just with his predictions. And he's, very, very precise. And it is, in Michigan, we can get, although not lately, huge torrential snowstorms and thunderstorms. And so that's another, service that we've used from time to time.
That's great. In fact, I feel like there's a lot of guys like that out there who are just super hobbyists into meteorology, because it's an amazing science. There's so much in it. I can see why it's so fascinating to folks. But it is, it's great if you have somebody like that local to you.
He's got 9,000 paid members on Patreon.
Oh wow, that's more than we have. Yeah. Oh, no, it isn't actually. But yeah, we do pretty well on Patreon with patrons. So now one app that's been around a long time and is also another one that got bought up by the Weather Channel was Storm Radar. And it's basically a radar app. It's okay. It used to have an Android version. They discontinued it. But I noticed that there's a Weather Channel Storm app on Android, so it may be the same thing, just not branded Storm Radar. It's and like I said, it's pretty good. It's basically just the radar. I get that in other apps now, but and there, in order to get some of the higher functions like the lightning maps or something like that, there was a couple of things like you have to pay for extra to get those, and there's ads on it. So I didn't love it, but it's there and it's mostly free. You get the basic functionality for free, so that was pretty good. There's another one from this is also iOS only. This one is called Snowflake, and this is really about data. This is like it's famously a lot of the information. It's got maps and stuff like that, like the radar and that sort of thing. But it's really about the graph. It's got this line graph, and it's all about graphing data up and down. It's very data intensive. So if you're a data intensive sort of person, you might want to check out Snowflake.
Oh, I thought it was geared for skiers or something.
No. It is from a company, Bajango, who are great developers on on iOS and Mac. They do iStat menus, which is a great little app, which is totally something different. And then there's Hurricane Tracker for iPad. Now, let me be honest. This is not a pretty app. This is a
clunky.
It doesn't look great. It looks old. It looks like it was made like it was more than 10 years ago when the iPad first came out, which is fine because that's not why I love it. I love it because it's got such great information. I'm kind of a geek about hurricane tracking. I when hurricanes come up, I'm always like, oh, where are they? And I used to actually plot them. I had a software where you could get the latest information from the National Hurricane Center, and it would give you the latitude and longitude and put it in an app, and then you could track it across the ocean. I don't need to do that anymore because it's all in this app. So basically, when you pull it up, it shows you 5 categories: hurricanes, tropical storms, depressions, potential cyclones, and something called invests, which I think is new. It's it's like a lower category of it's lower than like a tropical depression. It's basic like energy in the atmosphere, and it will tell you how many are active in those categories right now, whether it's the Atlantic or in the Pacific, and they give you all kinds of information about what's going on, the tropical outlook, all the access to the information from the National Hurricane Center. So if you want to track hurricane information, if that's sort of the thing that gets you interested, you can even just get the basic data feed of the real time, just the tracking feed. They have that. So it's kind of fun. I think they have a premium version, but for graphics or something like that. But it's never come up where I'm like, oh, I need to pay for this. Although you can donate as well. So that's Hurricane Tracker for iPad.
What I want to know is there a tornado tracker one? Living in Texas, I would like to know that. And I don't know of any apps that specifically like to tell you about tornadoes.
Yeah, well, that's the problem is the tornadoes are so much less predictable so
that's
far,
true.
Right? Yeah. Well, you go ahead.
I was going to say, I used to get on Twitter and look for tell it to just do the things around me and put in the word tornado, and I could get all sorts of information about people who were seeing them, tracking them, etc. Now that it's X, I tried the last time one came around, and I can't get anything that I want on there. So I like the idea of local newscasters or local weather people reporting what they saw as tornado touchdowns and where they were and about how far they were traveling, and I don't know where to go now.
These apps, like the 1 Degree Outside app, has notifications, so it'll tell me, like, if I give it my location, if I let it have my location data, which you do if you want local forecast, it was like telling me tonight, sending me notifications, say lightning has been detected a half mile from your house. Lightning has been detected a quarter mile from your house. I'm like, what? You mean that loud thing that I just heard? Yes, I know. Yeah, I know about that one. So maybe you can get one of these weather apps and get the tornado notifications that it can maybe crowdsource them. That would be nice.
That would be nice, yeah.
I had a roommate in college. He was from the Midwest, and I'm on the East Coast, and he was saying that hurricanes were so scary to him because they were so big. I'm like, no, tornadoes are scarier because they're so unpredictable. And, we go back and forth. Like, you could see a hurricane coming and get out of the way. Like, you don't even know if a tornado's coming. And so it was a funny little debate, which was worse. So I mentioned earlier the importance of the source of the information, the forecast. A lot of these different apps will rely on the same data sources, and some of them may not tell you what they're using for a data source. Although, as I said, like Carrot Weather will give you the opportunity to choose your forecast source. The 1 degree outside, the forecast source is these meteorologists, so they're doing it on their own. But there's a website called forecastadvisor.com. And when you go in there, you enter your zip code or your city and town, it will tell you, it'll give you your local forecast, but it will tell you which of the data sources were most accurate for your location, that location you entered last month. So for right now, it's saying the month of May as we record. So for me, like the 3 best data sources for where I am in the month of May were the Weather Channel, Foreca, Foreca, and Eris Weather, Aeris Weather. And then it has like 10 different ones. So I don't have access to, apps that use all of these different ones. But like I said, Carrot Weather uses a handful of these. So I can just choose the one in Carrot, for instance, that was the most accurate. And so I come back and check, every few months and see how they're doing. And if one of them's been doing better than the others, I'll switch over to them. So it's a really handy source.
Surprisingly, Microsoft shows up higher than any of the others on when I went to check mine.
Interesting. Interesting.
It said Microsoft, then Weather Channel, then Foreca.
Yeah, and it does look like it shows you the full year 2023 as well.
Yep.
So it looks like the Weather Channel has been most accurate over the course of the full year. So I think that's what Weather Underground uses. So
yeah, Weather Channel, Weather Underground are the same source. Yeah. Yeah,
good vote of confidence for that accuracy there.
Cool.
Right. And you can dig into it. There's a button to dig into the further accuracy analysis, and they'll give you more data if you really want it on the, again, where you are. And they'll go through who is most accurate for high temps, who is most accurate for the low temp, who is most accurate for precipitation, and so on and so forth. So so you get a lot, if one of those metrics was more important to you than any other, like, no, I really need the one who's most accurate for precipitation, not temperature.
Right.
Then you can do that. You can find the one who's good for that. So that's a really handy one. I have to say that was a good site to find.
Yeah.
Cool.
So those are our, the weather apps that we use, and if listeners, you have other weather apps that you use, you find accurate, you find useful, or local weather for where you live that's different, that isn't where one of the ones we talked about, let us know. Send us some feedback at technology. Sorry, I was trying to think of it. technology@sqpn.com, and let us know, because we'd love to hear from you on that. I know, you said, do you like the surprises? I'm a bit of a weather geek. I like to know the weather. So that's why this appealed to me. And maybe at some point we could talk about, weather stations, like you said, you got for your son, and some of that.
Yeah. Other tech. Yeah.
Yeah.
The techiest thing we have is a rain gauge, and that's it.
When I was a kid, we had an old style barometer on the wall. It was just a metal, needle, with a spring inside that changed shape based on how humid it was and whether the air pressure was up or down. And I loved looking at that thing, watching it move as the weather changed.
Yep.
It's a lot of fun. It's fun for kids, I think. So definitely something to check. All right, before we move on, I want to take a moment to thank our patrons who make it possible for us to create the secrets of technology, including Francis B., Carla K., Marilyn K., Kip C., and Ginny C. Their generous donations at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue the secrets of technology and all the shows at StarQuest. And you can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. So let's talk about some headlines. And the first one is from Engadget, and their headline says, "How Small Claims Court Became Meta's Customer Service Hotline." Now, if you've ever had the circumstance where you needed Facebook, something went wrong with you on Facebook for you, and you needed to contact someone at Facebook to figure it out or fix it, you know how frustrating that can be.
Good luck.
So what a lot of people found, the people in this article found, was that their best bet was to just sue Meta in small claims court to get satisfaction, to get them to do anything. Filing a legal claim got the attention of their lawyers and finally, got things done, I guess. So, so according to the article, several people have successfully used small claims court to regain access to their accounts. Some have even gotten settlements, small settlements, because it's small claims, but a few $1,000s. But, honestly, I sympathize because I often have run into situations. Just happened to me yesterday. I'm scrolling my Facebook and I get a pop-up from Facebook saying, "We've removed one of you, this message that you posted because it goes against our community standards. And because it seemed like you were deceptively trying to sign people up in a spammy way," or something along those lines. And I'm like, this was something I posted 14 years ago that said, "The Vatican Information Service has a new website, visnews.com." And that's it. I'm like, what?
But at least they told you which posts. The time
Exactly.
I got a couple of them, I got no way to know which one it was that they complained about.
Right. And then they tell you in the midst of this that, if this keeps up, we're going to suspend your account. Like, what keeps up? And, you can dispute it. I want just to be reviewed by a human being. And then you press a button and then it says, choose from these options of why you don't think. And none of those options really apply. It's like, it's because it's a stupid thing. It's not at all what you said it is. So it's very frustrating. And what's worse is it's not the first time it's happened to me. And I know this is happening to a lot of people because I hear from a lot of people who've had the same thing happen. And there's no one you can talk to. They claim to have a customer service hotline, the customer service that you can contact. But I've never been able to get a hold of anyone. I've never found a way to talk to a person. And it's very frustrating. I've talked about this time and time again over the years. So maybe, if it came down to it, filing a small claim, I mean, what do you think? Is that a reasonable approach given the unreasonability of Facebook? What do you think? Would it be something you'd resort to?
If my livelihood depended on it, probably. In the article, there's people who were making money off of, I guess, Instagram or Facebook somehow, who had been locked out of their accounts or had their accounts taken away from them. And they were able to successfully sue for damages, not, tens of thousands or millions of dollars, but mainly because Meta didn't show up, as why would they? But but it does set precedent. Yeah, it does set precedent for them, right? That you've been sued successfully in small claims court, 50 times, and something bigger comes along, right? It's going to not look great for them. But I mean, if my livelihood was tied up in it, probably I would.
Now, this is a different thing, but, people who've been locked out of their account because of passwords or verification things, I have heard of people that actually bought a Meta Quest, and because they could get better results going through Meta's help center than they could ever get from any other part of Facebook.
Interesting.
So that was just another thought, but that won't help you with the, hey, you did something wrong, we're going to ban you. That doesn't help that at all.
Right. Or someone, hacked your account and stole it from you and locked you out of it.
Oh, I have so many clients that's happened to.
Yeah.
And, I report clones over and over again, and they'll come back and say, I'm sorry, this doesn't meet our criteria of going against our public, against our standards.
Right.
Or like if I see somebody selling forever stamps and it's a scam because they're counterfeit, because you can't put a sale on federal postage.
Right.
They say there's nothing wrong with those companies. They're adhering to our standards.
Yeah. It feels like, I don't know, just arrogance, because as if, we're here, we're never going away, and no matter how bad things get, you're going to stick around. And I'm like, tell that to MySpace. I mean, the only thing preventing Facebook from face planting is that there isn't a competitor who's come along to take this away from them. People stay there because that's where everybody is. If something came along and people moved to it, goodbye Facebook. Like your business will crater. And I think that's one of the reasons why they're one of the primary companies trying to get a ban on TikTok, because if they can ban TikTok, then all those people move to Instagram, and then that kind of guarantees their future, because they know no one under the age of 25 is willingly signing up for a Facebook account anymore.
No.
It just isn't happening. So, gosh. Anyway, it's a terrible business. Go ahead.
I haven't used any Meta products in 8 or 10 years now. So yeah,
you're probably better off.
Well, that remains to be seen.
So our next headline is a little more fun. Zelda, this is from The Verge. Zelda is getting her own game. The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom, coming to the Nintendo Switch in September. And it's funny. It's funny to me. I didn't grow up playing Zelda. I'm late to the franchise. The first Zelda game I ever played was, the not Breath of the Wild, the Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom, right?
Yeah. But it always amused me that the game is The Legend of Zelda, but it's all about Link. You play Link as the main character.
Yeah, that's the big joke is like, calling Link Zelda and stuff. I've played pretty much all of the main games. I haven't played Zelda's previous game, which was on the Philips CDI system, Legend of Zelda: The Wand of Gamelon, where you actually could play a Zelda, but it was one of those weird Russian animated, that you see pop up on YouTube. And Zelda's been playable in other games like Smash Brothers and the Hyrule Warriors games, which are Orochi battle styles games. You could play her in that. And I think in maybe in levels in other games, I'm not sure if in Phantom Hourglass you could play as Zelda or not. But yeah, so it is cool to see her get her own game. It has the couple of years ago, Nintendo remade the first Game Boy Zelda game, Link's Awakening, for the Switch and charged full price for it, which was not good, which is why I don't have it. But with this kind of almost like claymation-y type 3D 2.5D art style, and that's what this game is presented in that same style. And the big draw here is that just as Tears of the Kingdom offered you different ways other than just hacking and slashing with swords, you could actually build devices. And even just today, our kids are off school for the summer, and they've spent days still playing Tears of the Kingdom after a year, just because they can build things and go to different areas and explore. And the draw here is that Zelda doesn't have a sword and the bombs and the arrows, which are all of Link's weapons. She has a staff of wisdom, because in the series canon, Zelda is the Triforce of wisdom. Link is the Triforce of courage, and Ganon usually is the Triforce of power, I believe. And so the three Triforce, triangles combine. And so you always have those three Triforces in each game. But since she's the Triforce of wisdom and she has the staff of wisdom, she can actually use her wisdom to copy objects that she finds in the game and then spawn them into the world as needed to help solve puzzles. So, tables was one that they showed. She can make, platforms out of tables. She can spawn water to help her float up to a thing. And she can even, once she defeats a monster, then spawn that monster to attack other monsters and stuff too. So it's a different style of gameplay, which I think is the big draw there, that even this far into the franchise, and we are, 40 years into the Zelda franchise just about at this point. Wow. And I don't know how many mainline games there are, several dozen. There's still new ways to play the game, and they keep innovating with the series, which I think is really cool.
Disney Star Wars, are you paying attention?
but in ways that still
years.
that still feel authentically, tied to the game and stuff. Right. And so we will be picking this up. I don't think we'll pick up 5 or 6 copies like we did for Tears of the Kingdom, but I think this is definitely something we're all going to want to play, take turns playing. Nice. For sure.
And they also announced the Metroid Prime 4 coming.
Yes. I have been waiting a dozen years, probably 14 years since the last Metroid Prime game. So when the GameCube came out, and this is early 2000s, Nintendo released a first-person Metroid game, and Metroid is another franchise that's been around for 40 years, but it was typically defined as kind of a 2D exploration game. There's actually a type of game genre called Metroidvania, which is a portmanteau of Metroid and Castlevania. And they're games where you start off with a limited set of abilities, and in order to traverse more of the world, you need to unlock more abilities. So, you'll need an ice beam to open the ice beam doors, or you'll need, to be able to turn into a small ball to roll through, holes in the wall and that sort of thing. And so it's a really fun style of gameplay. It involves, backtracking. You'll see areas you can't get to, and then later on in the game, you'll get an ability that you'll suddenly solve the puzzle in your mind, and it gives you a really good, feeling of satisfaction. It's like, oh yeah, I did see something like that. Where did I see that? Oh yeah, that was like 10 hours ago. I saw something. Let me go back to that spot. And so finally, they're releasing the 4th entry in the series. Like I said, after 15 or so years. And what's interesting about it is, they didn't say which system it's coming out on, just that it's coming out next year. And so the speculation is that the successor to the Switch, the Nintendo Switch 2 or whatever they're going to call it, will be announced later this year. And as they did with Breath of the Wild, the Zelda game, they released that both on the Switch and the predecessor to the Switch, the Wii U. It came out on both systems. Maybe this will be a game that they'll release on both systems so people can compare, the old Switch to the new Switch, and see how, graphically it stacks up and stuff. So, looking forward to that one as well, but I have to wait another year for that.
Interesting. Yeah, so just you look at the gameplay trailer and it looks fantastic. It's just amazing how how far they've come in 40 years. It just blows my mind.
Yeah, and what I like about it is the emphasis is on exploration and puzzle solving. There is, combat, but it's not, you're not walking into a room and suddenly there's like 50, enemies that you have to blow away. It's more like, how do I get up there? Or, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I like the puzzle solving.
Yeah.
And then our third headline comes from YouTube's official blog, and the headline is testing new ways to offer viewers more context and information on videos. So, you may have noticed on X, they've replaced the fact checking with something called community notes, and members of the community can put a note on someone's X tweet. I don't know what we call it these days. Anyway, they put a note on it when it's, they think it's factually incorrect or it needs more context or whatnot. So one of the criticisms that's been offered a lot of these big tech companies is in the moderation, whether it's automated or it's run by a third party who may or may not be neutral on a subject. And so they're going to start testing this idea of allowing notes to be, community notes to be posted on videos. So the notes, as they give examples, notes could clarify when a song is meant to be a parody or point out when a new version of a product is being reviewed in the video is now available. Now they're rolling it out in a pilot program. There'll only be limited people, known creators on the channel will be able to make these notes. But I don't know. I just imagine the day when they open this up to everyone, it'll be a bloodbath.
Spam.
Yeah, I think it'll be worse before they open it up. I mean, it looks like just in time for the election, they're offering the chance for selected curators to flag videos with misinformation. I mean, they already come along, and if you use certain phrases in your videos, they'll automatically demonetize you,
right?
Or they'll, deboost your videos and stuff. And this is kind of just, I do like the community notes feature on X. I'm a community notes, reviewer.
It generally works there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun to see the community notes that obviously will fail, and stuff where they're just very argumentative or just what, but yeah. So the fact that it's only open to like certain curators at this point is very suspicious. Plus, YouTube has not shown a good commitment like X has lately to kind of freedom of speech and a wide diverse range of viewpoints and stuff in terms of. I mean, even X isn't perfect in that regard, but yeah, I mean, they even hid like the downvotes, the thumbs down on YouTube videos. So transparency isn't really something that they're known for. If eventually this reaches the community note stage where the community actually has a say in it, I think that could be good. But otherwise, I don't know that people. I don't know if somebody's watching a video on YouTube. Do you think it's real and factual or not? I mean,
so
I don't know.
One of the things they seem to indicate that their plan is for these videos. At first, the notes will be evaluated by third-party evaluators, like people who people that work for Google, whether contractors or employees who they're the same people who provide feedback on YouTube search results and recommendations. So it's the people already working there. But so it doesn't sound like this is going to ever be open to community evaluation of the notes, which seems like I don't love that. And that it will probably be some algorithm eventually that's grading them. That's the way they make it sound. I don't love when algorithms grade things. And that's led to, as you alluded to, Victor, where, YouTube videos, YouTubers will be coined a phrase, "Oh, he unalived him," because we can't use the other word because we'll lose the algorithm, and so we're all just using a different word that we all know what it means that says the same thing, and it's ridiculous, but we have to go by it. So I like the idea, but I don't have high hopes for it. We get these sometimes on Mysterious Worlds videos where Jimmy will be talking about unicorns, like we just did a few weeks, and a note will be put underneath automatically about unicorns aren't real. Like, well, yes and no. Yeah, that's kind of what we're talking about here. Thanks for the spoiler, but so
yeah, exactly. Oh man,
YouTube can be frustrating about these things. Or we'll mention climate change at some point, and now we're going to have one of these on this show. But we'll mention climate change, and then we'll get the climate change thing. It's like we're just talking here. We're not, But
yeah.
Anyway, so those are our headlines, and that's what we had to say about them. So let's move on to our picks of the week, because there's going to be some good picks of the week this week. And Victor, what is your pick this week?
Yeah, so it's probably not something everybody needs at this point, but when our oldest son came home from college, he came back he was living in a house with some other guys, and he came back with the TV from the house, and it was like an older, dumb TV, and you can't watch streaming on a dumb TV, so went to see what the cheapest possible Roku was, and the Roku Express HD, which is not a stick device, so you still need to power it and hook via USB and stuff, was I think $18 or $19. And so we're big into the Roku ecosystem here, and so that was kind of a no-brainer to pick up. And also I wound up picking up a second one because we have a projector which we use sometimes to set up a screen and watch movies and stuff, and I needed a Roku device for that as well, because the apps on the projector itself were kind of sluggish. So if you do have a dumb TV sitting around and you with an HDMI input, and you need a Roku, there are Rokus to be had for under $20.
It comes with a remote, which is important to know. And my advice is, even if you have a smart TV, don't use the smart apps in the TV. You just don't even connect your TV to Wi-Fi. Yeah, because your TV is going to spy on you. Just get a streaming box that that attached to it. But and for $18, I've seen these in Walgreens in the pharmacy. So yeah,
wow,
you don't have to spend a lot.
Roku's own like ad supported channel now. It's like not Fubu, but like Tubu or Tubi and all those other. It's actually pretty good. They have a lot of really good stuff on there.
Yeah.
Freebie. Yeah. They have a lot of really good stuff on the Roku app now too. I was actually just before this podcast watching an episode of the 1960s Ultraman show. It was a Japanese kids show.
Oh man.
Which I used to watch the English dubbed version when I was like 6 or 7 years old. And there was an episode of that I watched that has like stuck in my brain for like the past 40 years. And it made like a very big impression on me. And so I saw that they had Ultraman. I was like, do they have the episode about the cosmic rays that turned the child's drawing into a kaiju? And they did.
Ooh,
and we just watched that. And the show was a lot funnier and a lot smarter than I remember. It's very, it was very enjoyable to watch. So
nice.
Good way to rediscover old TV shows.
That's awesome. Excellent. And Pat, what is your pick this week?
Well, I have a lot of customers for whom the looming demise of Windows 10 is making them very nervous. And for several years, I've been using a Windows Field Guide by Paul Thurrott, and he's an excellent Windows expert. And he's funny, and he's has a lot of ways of explaining things that are quite simple. And so I've been using his Windows 10 field guide and just picked up the Windows 11 version. And what I like about it is it'll say, well, if you're upgrading, here's what that's not there anymore. Or here's what they've added, and that's highlighted in color, so you can you can just kind of skim through it. But as much of a Windows person as I am, just going through that first couple of chapters, I learned some stuff I didn't know. Nice. But it was nicely illustrated. It's, as I say, it's good, clean, simple. It's not a techified version of things. It's plain English a lot of times, and then it explains in depth. But so anyway, it's basically you go on the website and you say what you can afford to pay for it. And you get a download, and then you can just continue downloading anytime they do an update to it. Like they come up with, another release, you can get that for free. Nice. And it replaces the old one. So it's handy. Excellent.
Very good. Yeah, I love these guides that you can get and just walk you through the basics of your operating system. I like the idea that it teaches you, but what's new? I like that.
Or where'd it go?
Where'd it go? Right. Oh man.
Yeah.
I need that on iOS because they when they messed up system settings, I'm doing a where'd it go a lot.
I'm doing a lot of searching in the settings.
So my pick is dbrand is a company that provides wraps or stickers for your devices. They put a nice back on it. It all started like protective coating, and now it's all about design as much as it is for protection. And they have this one that's really cool. This one line of skins for your phones called X-ray, and it's really kind of cool because it's really what you end up putting on the back of your device. And this is not just iPhones. This is every brand of phone practically, is an X-ray of what's inside the phone. So when you look at the back of your phone with this skin on it, it looks like a see-through of your phone.
Wow.
And it says, these are real X-rays. Each scan was performed in a metrology lab with one-of-a-kind imaging hardware originally developed for space exploration. It's literal rocket science. Which I love that.
Wow.
And they give you they give you both a light and a dark version of the skin. They say we don't trust you to do anything right, much less make the choice between light mode and dark mode. So you get both. They have a fun sense of humor there. So you just tell them, which phone you have, Apple, Google, Microsoft, Samsung, Asus, Dell, Framework, Lenovo, Nintendo. So you can get for your Switch, OnePlus, Razer, Sony, Valve. So for your Steam Deck. and you can get the skin for it. So it's really cool. I when I got my new iPad, I got a different D brand skin. That'll be a feature pick of the week. But they make it really easy to put them on, and this looks really nice. How much was it? Let me see here. You just click through Apple iPhone 15 skin. You can get it as a skin or a case. So if you want, and it was $25 for a skin. The case is $55. So that's for the iPhone 15 Pro. There'll be different prices. It'll vary a little bit based on your particular device, I think. So the D brand special edition X-ray skins.
Do they have them for the Mac Air?
That would be fun. I didn't know. I don't think so. I think it's just
phones.
I think let's see, MagSafe charger. That's fun. iPads.
The M3.
Ooh, iPad Air. You can get it for your iPad Air.
Oh, iPad Air.
Yeah.
I was looking for my Mac Air, but yeah.
Let's see, Magic Keyboard. Oh, yes. You can get it for your AirPods, your MacBook Pro, MacBook Air, Apple AirTag.
There we go.
Nice. How much would it? Yeah. Can I get one for my studio?
Yeah.
It's really cool. I like these skins. They look good. They don't add a lot of bulk, and they provide a little protection, and that's what I really like about them. I like keep my devices sleek. All right, so those are our picks of the week, and that's it for our discussion this time. What did you think of the things we discussed today? You can let us know by commenting on the show at sqpn.com/technology or the StarQuest Facebook page, facebook.com/StarQuestMedia. Send an email to technology@sqpn.com. Visit the StarQuest Discord community at sqpn.com/Discord. You can find links from our discussion and our picks of the week on our show notes at starquest.fm/TEC261. Be sure to follow the Secrets of Technology in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, TuneIn, your favorite podcast app, or at our YouTube channel, youtube.com/StarQuestMedia, where you should subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications. Until next time, Pat Scott, thank you for joining me and sharing the Secrets of Technology.
Until next time.
Victor Lambs, thank you as well.
Thanks, Dom.
And once again, I'm Dom Bettinelli. Thank you for listening to the Secrets of Technology on StarQuest.